Electrocast.
Where is that anger going to go if you don't release it? Where is that sadness going to go if you don't release it? When you work with crystals, they help you where you need to be guided. There's so much that you bring forward to the table. Just by you being you is enough. And now you can say, tap into that crystal energy that you are already a part of and utilize it to bring it forward so that you can be creative and be the light that you see yourself being. It's helping you understand that you are love. Nothing can take that away from you, even in the hardest of moments here in the physical reality.
Welcome to the Cosmic Love Antenna Podcast. This podcast is meant to encourage you to connect within so you can share your light with the world. And now, here's your host, Harrison Ma.
Welcome, beautiful beings, to another episode of the Cosmic Love Antenna. You've found yourself on your weekly installment of your inner connection to your outer expression, where I, your host Harrison, here with the beautiful being that I get to dance with today, set the intention of holding the space needed to pull back the layers, restricting health, alignment, and love. And today's chat, discussion, and cosmic dance is going to do just that. And I'm so excited to introduce this beautiful guest. But before I get to her and her soul, just a quick reminder for all the new souls joining and tuning in. Welcome to the tribe. Welcome to the family. It's so nice to have you. For the people returning, I love you very much. Thank you for giving us your attention and your ears. If you get value out of this chat today and it brings you insight, it brings you guidance, remember you can support the show by sharing this out to a lover, a friend, a family member that you think can get value out of it. And you can also go over to Apple and Spotify, leave your comments, reviews, and feedback. This helps me expand this energetic frequency out into the universe. The beautiful, powerful woman that I have on the show today is Jennifer Rose Rossano. She is a powerful intuitive in her own right. She is an author, a Reiki master, a psychic, and the theme of today's show, a crystal therapy healer. What I want to go into with this beautiful soul is really, what is crystal therapy? How do we connect to them? How do we use them to heal our heart? What are the basics? What are the connection to past lives, entities, and just all the spiritual chats that we usually have on this platform. With all of that, Jen, it's a divine pleasure to welcome you to the Cosmic Love Antenna.
Oh my gosh, it's my honor, Harrison. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. I'm so glad we're able to get together and do this and talk about something that we're both so passionate about. And for me, working in this way and being of service is such an honor for me. I hold it in the utmost regard, the highest regard, and the most respect. And I'm really excited to dive deep into more about crystals and healing and how we can use them. And so thank you.
And it's interesting, Jen. You're welcome, my friend. It's interesting. I was sharing with you before we started recording that, this show today, most of the episodes I do are like this, but I think this one in particular is me scratching my own itch, right? At the stage in my sort of awakening, crystals have been a part of my life, but as I was sharing with you, they've very recently started to awaken to me, their consciousness, their beingness, and their beautiful companionship that they bring us. So I'm excited to learn today. And if I'm learning, I know that people listening are going to learn. But before we get to some of those questions, Jen, I actually want to hear a little bit about you. And, I've had the divine pleasure to really be in your energy a lot and get to really remember who you are. But I would love for you to share a little bit today, before we get into all things crystals, about who you are. But I think what I'd like to hear is maybe who you are through a crystal lens, right? Why are crystals such a big part of your life, Jen, and the work that you do? And, is there a story behind that?
When you were saying that, I got flooded with emotions, like overwhelmed with gratitude and happiness and joy, where it's like bringing tears to my eyes because I feel so fortunate and appreciative and grateful for being guided to work with crystals, among other things, but crystals have been such a huge part of my own healing journey and helping me rediscover parts of myself that were always there, but I just never paid attention to. I was maybe dismissive towards. So crystals have opened me up to expanded consciousness, expanded awareness. I feel like on my journey, there are things that I look back 1 month ago, a year ago, 10 years ago, where I've had no awareness around certain things. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, like I can't believe I didn't know this then. But, you know, everything happens for a reason. So I feel that they really helped me unfold and embrace and accept and kind of give me that nudge too, you know, that tough love to not be afraid to progress forward with an acceptance. I feel, you know, it always starts within.
Was it gradual, Jenn, for you? Was it like, in terms of what you're saying around these crystals helping you and loving you, was it, we're going to get into this today, but I see our connection to crystals as a relationship. And like any relationship, I think some of them we can sort of just end up in and randomly, oh, I'm here, I'm at a bar with this person. Or sometimes it's like a long-term relationship that's building. What was it like for you?
I feel like it started out gradual and then they were like, let's go. We don't have time to wait for you anymore. Because in the opening up to my soul and my essence and my spirit side was very back and forth for me. Growing up, this was very frightening for me, not understanding the feelings that were coming up. I was internalizing a lot of things as anxiety. So this was this part of myself, the inner world, the one that we should be paying attention to, our energetic field, our auric essence. I was so afraid of this side of living, but from a very young age, it's not something that was talked about or discussed. So it was internalized and it manifested itself into physical things like anxiety, overanalyzing, worrying, always feeling like I've had to prove, people pleasing, you know? So it started off gradual. Like I felt like my spirit team would put things in my path and then I would pick it up and then read and then really want to dive in and learn about certain things. Then something would just scare me and I would turn off from it and be like, this is what I don't want to. I had this very 3D Hollywood cinematic ideology that I was going to be opening up to something negative. Meanwhile, I was just literally on a negative like hamster wheel of the beliefs that weren't serving me, of the patterns in my life that weren't serving me. And I felt like I can look back at different phases of my life and see when my higher self and my spirit team would come in and give me the tools to work with, but it was up to me if I was going to pick those up or not. I would pick them up and put them down, pick them up and put them down.
And that choice, Jenn, as you're beautifully highlighting, you know, most of it, if not all of it, is from our programming. Right, as a lot of what you were just discussing then.
Right, exactly.
Right? Whether it's Hollywood, whether it's our parents, whether it's religion, whether it's culture, whether it's it's funny, Jenn. This is a slight tangent, but I talk about this a lot. I talk about this a lot on the show. I imagine, you know, what would I picture your journey and I picture my journey. What would our journeys be like if none of those external influences were there? Right. I'm wondering, like, and, you know, I think we're here for a reason. We're here right now for a reason, and all the things are meant to be, right? Divine purpose. But let's just play a game here for a second. I'm wondering how would your life be different, Jenn, if none of those external influences, those programming elements were there? Do you think this crystal world would have just been, you'd have dived straight in with just joy and bliss?
I think we come in like that. I just think we forget. I think it's there all along. I think that our connection to energy is always there. It starts way before the womb. It starts in spirit. So I feel like it's always there. It's just when we enter this dense, heavy world, we're like, what's going on? Why are we here? You know, but the connection is there. That's why when you start to open up and embrace it, it feels so familiar. It feels safe. It feels very grounding. It feels like feels like a belonging. Yes, exactly. Yeah. It feels like, oh my gosh, like you know this feeling, but you just can't pinpoint it. Then you have like your loud conscious mind that is like, we need tangible proof. What is this connection we're feeling? But it's always there. We come in with, that the loud ego. It's like, wait, what's going on here? But so I feel like it's always there. It's just opening our eyes, higher eyes, our psychic eyes, to that connection, to this energy that we're all a part of. I really feel like we're connected to all that is. I feel that on Earth, we have created this grid of energy amongst ourselves, amongst the tools that were given to us by God, universe, the source, however you call it. And I feel like I can see that grid, like so many different grids of color connecting us all. And we're all doing our part in our own way. Even people that aren't aware, they're still here doing their part. So I feel like without those experiences and just coming in, that's the consciousness that where I'm at now. And like, I feel like I'm still ascending, and I don't feel like it stops. I feel like it just keeps on going. Like when I walk out of my house and my neighbor walks out of their house, we're in two different realities. We're completely different realities. And we're living in completely different worlds. And that blows me away when you think about it.
I think it's every single person here, Jen. Every single person. There is no, and I love how deep we're going. We'll come back up a little bit here in a second.
But like we're good like this.
Yeah, we're good like this. This is where we live. And I know everyone tuning in, this is where you live too, so you love it. I'll just say that there is no, I think you probably agree with this, Jen, but I prescribe to the Vedic worldview, and the Vedic worldview summarizes that there is no objective outside reality, right? There is just the reality that we internally create that we then project through, or the lens that we look through. So every single person, like you just said in your example, you, the friend, your mum, your dad, your sister, your brother, your lover, we are all creating our kids, we're all creating our own individual reality. So it's, yeah. Anyway, let's.
I believe that too. But like when I was younger, I thought that my reality was created already outside of me.
Yes.
And as a teenager, going through the wild years of teenage, there's a lot going on spiritual from, the time you're born into your spirit, into your teen years. That's going on where you're maturing and you're being bombarded and downloaded and upgraded, and and physicality, you're going through puberty and you're just like feeling flustered and all over the place. So I think a lot is going on that meets the eye in our lives and in different aspects of our lives, from young children to teenagers to 20s, 30s, and then it just keeps on going. I do sometimes say ignorance is bliss. Sometimes it's easier not knowing. I get it, because you're just like, why do I know these things? I wish I didn't, even though you would never turn back time. But it's sometimes you understand why sometimes it's easier for people not to awaken or want to awaken to this, because it could feel like hard or overwhelming, but it's really something like once you know, you can't unknow, and you embrace more and more, and you just want to continuously be of service to self, so that you can be of service to, so it ripples outward. Yes, exactly.
It's the whole idea of unity consciousness, right? We're not here. Awakening and ascension isn't a Jen thing or a Harrison thing. We awaken and ascend together, right? We awaken as a group. But Jen, I love it.
You're ascending, I'm ascending.
Yes,
right?
It's happening. Jen, let's get into the nuances now of crystal healing, right? And everything we just sort of talked about. And, I hope now that as everyone's tuning in, you can understand why I love this person so much, because Jen is you're so in tune. And I was just going to say before, Jen, that friendly nature that you were talking about, that energetic expression, that is really the energy that you prescribe, my friend. Anyone that walks into your field, they feel at home, right? Which is why I want to go deeper now into crystal healing, because I think this has a very significant connection. So let's start, Jen, basic, and we'll go deep. How would you describe to someone who is new to crystal healing, crystal therapy, what is it? What is crystal therapy to someone that's new to this idea?
Oh my God, so in love with this. Crystals have consciousness. So the same way you would talk to your plants, the way you would talk to yourself, you can talk to your crystals. Crystals they automatically vibrate at a higher frequency. So when a crystal comes into your energy field, your energy has no choice but to meet the crystal where it's at. So you're automatically getting, your vibe frequency is automatically raising. Even if you're aware of it or not, you don't have to be aware of it. It's just happening. And this has been scientifically proven. Like, you can measure this. Scientists can measure this. I mean, then energy goes so far that it can't be measured, but that's a whole different topic. So when you're in training with crystal energy, it's not, crystals aren't easily influenced. Our energy is easily influenced. That's why we go up and down. We have, it can be like a dance. Like you said, we had a conversation. You're like, it's going to be like a dance. It's very up and down, side to side. Our energy is very easily influenced. Crystal energy is not influenced. So when a crystal is around
Why is that,
us,
Jenn? Why is that? Because of their density?
Yeah, well, yes, they have what's called a DOR. Hold on, let me just make sure I'm saying it right, because this word always stumbles me. What's that?
For people listening, Jenn has made a comprehensive notes that she's brought to this chat, just so she is the beautiful, energetic professional that she is. And
Yes.
It's very cute. It's very cute.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. All right. So light can be turned down into sound. And the more condensed that it turns into matter, like crystals. So you're taking this light energy, right? This light, this sound, this vibration, this frequency, and it's being condensed down into crystals. So then when we take those crystals, we're at that frequency that they are, because it's raising our vibration. We can't, since we can be easily influenced, anything can throw our energy. For instance, like if you throw a bag like diagonal over your body, you can influence your own energy. You can be ungrounded in that moment. Someone walks past you, they're having a bad day, and you're open and not aware of your spiritual boundaries. Boom, you're ungrounded and your energy has been influenced. It's been brought back down into lower vibrating, more earthly frequencies. When you're around crystals that are light, that have condensed down to help raise us, boom, you're going to be more grounded. You're going to feel more stable. You're going to feel like you have a solid foundation. You're going to be lifting up. You're going to be able to make decisions with clarity and ease because of this frequency that they vibrate on. It does a lot of, go ahead.
Let me jump in here, because there's so many questions already bubbling up. So I think then where I would go from here, just because I'm really trying to channel the novice that in many parts I am around this for people tuning in and listening. So then where does the differentiating fact of each crystal come in? So it sounds like from what you're describing, there is this, and this has definitely been my reality, there is a base set of characteristics that all crystals have, right? That grounding nature that you were just talking about. But then obviously there is such a, as an example here, I got the pleasure to tune into your crystal live show yesterday when you were selling crystals. And there's just, to say that there is a crystal for every single person out there would be an understatement, right? There's the colors of the rainbow. Yeah, right? Yes. Yeah. So where does in your opinion, your experience, my friend, where does the differentiating factor of all the different colors and shapes, where does that factor in?
So I know everything about the chakra system and the lights and the colors. So there's a crystal for each color, and it resonates on a frequency. Each color resonates on a frequency. And then you work with a crystal of that frequency of that color. And then it helps create space. It helps clear blockages. And there are crystals that are for grounding, like hematite, shungite, black tourmaline, smoky quartz. Then you have things like blue lace agate, amethyst that can work with throat chakra, third eye chakra. You have clear quartz, all quartz, master healer. It's going to amplify and magnify intentions and energy around you. You have super high spiritual vibrating stones like tralite, labradorite that are going to help you connect more to your spirit and soul and create almost like a clear path between your higher self and your earth self. And everything meets at the heart chakra. So, everything meets there. That's our 0 point. That's where our connection to the earth and then the cosmic light hits. Yes. And then crystals, what they do is that they help clear our field, right? They patch up any holes in our auric field and they create picture a conveyor belt of energy just flowing around you. A lot of people, when they do healing sessions, even without crystals, sometimes after you feel like you're swaying side to side or like you're walking to the side because so much energy that has been holding you down for your entire life has been removed from not only your physical body, but from your energetic field. And now you're talking that this energy vibrates to your organs, your tissues, your cells, your DNA. It's on a cellular level for our physical body. And then while it's creating like a clear light column, right, from the crown all the way out through the root, connecting to Earth Star, literally you're creating this energy light field, and whichever crystal you're working with to put your body in balance, to put your mental, emotional, or spiritual self in balance is going to help create space so that you can bring in more of what serves you and start to finally feel safe enough to let go of what doesn't serve you.
I love
crystals. Sorry, no, I can go on. But
no, Jenn, you're good. I'll jump in here because I want to.
Go ahead. I know because I can keep going.
No, I appreciate it, Jenn, because I can feel your passion around this, and I'm sitting here soaking all this up. But I'll just say 2 things here for people listening. I'm going to put 2 episodes in the show notes. So 1 episode for the chakra breakdown that I did because Jenn just gave you. Everything she was just explaining was beautiful. But if you're new to the chakra system, go back and listen to those episodes. It'll be in the show notes. But 2 here, Jenn, and this is what I want to get your opinion on, is everything you just described, right, is not in the thinking mind, right? The right. Chakra system and feeling and sensitivities and, a big part of crystal therapy from what I'm picking up thus far is it's very intuitive based, right? It's allowing our intuition to guide us to what is needed in the moment, right?
Absolutely.
So I'm wondering, my question for you, Jenn, is what is the challenge if someone is coming into crystal therapy and the crystal world only through their thinking mind, right? So we talked before about all these programs that we have growing up. Because I can feel a lot of skeptics out there listening, right? And if you're a skeptic, I love you. If you're only do you see it as a challenge, or have you noticed a challenge when people come into the crystal world only using their thinking mind? Does that make sense, what I'm saying?
That makes total sense. I'm going to tell you what's really going on here. They think that they're thinking with their thinking mind, but their higher self is guiding them towards that. I feel that the crystal chooses you the same way pets choose you. I feel like you're not drawn to something for no reason. Maybe the awareness isn't there to that individual of why they're being drawn to it. Maybe they just like the aesthetics of it or how it looks. I mean, crystals are absolutely beautiful. You look at amethyst in all the different shades of purple and silver that you see, it's so appeasing to the eye and you're just so drawn to it, but there's no coincidence why you're drawn to amethyst. People think that because amethyst is so abundant now that it's not of a higher frequency or a high spiritual crystal. But in the beginning, when crystals, thousands and thousands of years ago, amethyst was very sought after. It wasn't as common as it is now. I feel in my experience and working with crystals and communicating with them, I feel like something like amethyst is of such abundance now so that everybody has easy accessibility to it so that they can work with it. So I don't look at it like it's like the everyday, you plain Jane kind of thing, or, it serves no purpose. I think quartz and a lot of the crystals that are in abundance and easily accessible is not by coincidence. It's for us to connect with that energy grid, because then it creates this light field around you and it creates a light shield around you. And then there's so much happening on a energetic level that is, and people will say, I felt the shift. I feel these shifts, because the shifts always happen from the inside out. It never happens from the outside in. So what happens is you start to do everything from the inside, and then you start to see these subtle shifts happening outside, where maybe you're not as reactory as you once were. Maybe you noticed you didn't give your power away, or you're setting up healthier, clearer boundaries, and you're able to make decisions or speak up and express your creative ideas without feeling silly or dismissive of self, and saying, wait a minute, what's changed? Why am I not feeling like shy or timid to share who I am or share my creative ideas? And then you start to say, oh, okay, I brought this crystal into my life. I started working with this crystal, or I just have this crystal. I don't even know why I have it. But like I said, the crystals, they bring us to their vibration. It's not the other way around. So the crystal chooses you. And then, yeah, I really feel that. Go ahead.
Oh, good. So I wanted to pull out, you said it a lot of times just then, you said feeling. Right. And again, I'll put another episode in the show notes where I talked about the difference between thinking, intuiting, sensing, and feeling. And I think a big part of crystal therapy, and you just highlighted it, my beautiful friend, is if you're coming into this world and you haven't opened up your feeling body, right? So for example, I grew up as a boy that shut down his emotions, shut down his feelings and sensitivities because I was told it was weak, right? And I want to just say this to all the people out there listening. A big part of the crystal therapy that I've tuned into, and as you're hearing Jenn describe, is really coming back into attunement with that feeling body, right? Because that's a lot of where the chakra system works through, right? Jenn, let's shift now to, I know a lot of light workers and healers listen to my show, and I know a lot of healers follow you and your work. And I'm wondering if you could get practical with us, get down and dirty with us, and describe what it looks like to start using crystals to heal, right? So let me give you an example. Let's say that I'm coming to you, Jenn, and I've just gone through a breakup, and I'm looking to maybe heal from some of the trauma that might have come up around that, and or attract a beautiful new partner into my life. Where would crystal therapy practically sort of fit in? What would it look like?
So before any session, we always go through an intake form that I send my clients so that I could get a better understanding of what they're going through. So if someone came to me with this, I feel like intuitive, like to each person, I'll be intuitively guided to do something different, but feeling this, right? This, I would focus on their heart chakra, and I would bring in rose quartz. And rose quartz is known as the stone of unconditional love, but it goes so much more deeper than that. So what the rose quartz is going to help me with, it's going to bring me back to the first point in that person's life, maybe as a child, maybe as a young adult, maybe as a teenager, where they felt abandoned, where they felt unloved, where they felt unworthy, because something like rose quartz is going to bring me to the deepest chambers of the heart and show me where they stopped putting themselves first. Oh my God, I'm getting the chills. Like my whole body's lighting up right now because
I felt it as you said it.
I feel right now, you know what it is, Harrison, I'm picking up like multiple people are going to resonate with this on such a deep level, because people go through intense breakups and heartaches and blame themselves in situations like that. It becomes very external. It becomes, maybe if I look this way, maybe if I was like this, or maybe if I had that. And then we rose quartz, something working with rose quartz will help the person flip the script and say, I'm going to take responsibility for me, and I'm not going to take responsibility for somebody else. It lessens the load. It's like putting down a spiritual backpack. Now, this doesn't happen overnight. This is a journey. It's one foot in front of the other. Sometimes you're going to take 10 steps forward to feel like you've taken 20 steps back, but that is a growth spurt, a spiritual growth spurt. I feel like it's about being gentle with yourself when you're on a journey in this way, or when you're healing through something in this way, because it's highlighting for you to move through a lot of the barriers that have been put up and around you. And although it's probably one of the hardest things an individual goes through, a breakup, whether it's, infidelity or just somebody not being in love, it's really highlighting for you things that you're going to heal. It's a blessing in disguise. It always is, even when it doesn't feel that way. But I can tell you, I feel like 9 times out of 10, the people that I work with that do deal with situations like this, a year later, they're in such a different space. Even 2 years later, they're in such a different space in their mindset, in the way they feel about themselves. Everything that has always been kind of at an arm's length is finally in their grasp. They're in alignment with who they are. They're doing things that actually make them happy and light them on fire. So rose quartz breaks through the barriers of the deepest heartache, any childhood trauma where we felt not accepted, not loved, unhappy. There's always that first time it happens, whether it's someone taking candy from you, or the first time you felt unsafe. So, and then we build these barriers around our hearts, and they become security blankets. They're not serving us. They may have served us at one point in our lives in the way we needed them. Yes, but then we need that to change, and we need that to shift, and we need to say, okay, you protected me in this way in the time of my life where I needed it, and now I need you to protect me in a different way. So rose quartz helps with that. And now if they're like, I'm looking for a love interest, or I'm really wanting a relationship, again, I'm going to focus on the relationship with self, because the search of I need someone to complete me. That's not how it works. It's more of you come together in a union and you complement one another. You're both individuals who are and bring together this beautiful harmonic union. And it's no codependency. No, I need you to make me happy, because it's a lot of responsibility to put on another person. Happiness is a state of consciousness. So again, working with something like carnelian, it's going to put you in alignment with who you really are, your true essence. You can't lie to yourself. When you look in the mirror, you can't lie to yourself. You know exactly what it is that you need to work on. You know exactly what it is that you want. And when you start to say happiness is a choice, I'm choosing joy, I'm choosing happiness, you blend with everyone else who's on that frequency, on that vibration, and it amplifies. And then you bring in something like crystals to support you, and it just keeps on expanding. I look at crystals like, this is the easiest way I put it. I look at crystals like the same way you nourish your body with food. I feel like crystals are food for the soul. So, right? I totally coined that, by the way, Harrison. I'm like,
well, I see that. I get images in my third eye when people talk on the show. My friend, I saw a T-shirt as soon as you said that. But let me step back. So first of all, Jenn, that was beautiful, my friend. Thank you for describing that journey with us. And I think as I was listening to you, it really shows, as I go back to the start of the episode, it shows the relationship we have with these beautiful, parts of consciousness, right? These crystals, right? And where they can take us. But I will just say, going back to your heart journey that you just took us on with the rose quartz, I would actually say it's a bit more than this. And I want to get your perspective on this. So it does help us back to our connection to self. But what is that connection to self? Is that a connection to the small self, right? The ego, the personas that we think that we are? Or is the rose quartz through the heart space portal bringing us back to a connection with the big self, right? The unity consciousness that we talked about before, that oneness that we all are. And I think, I think that's why a big part of why you got those chills and that connection that you just talked about. Yes, it helps with the relationships, but at a deeper fundamental level, it helps us remember what we are, right? It helps us remember that deeper, powerful being that we've been this entire time. And
again, like we are love.
Yeah. Right.
That's not gone. It's never lost. Our connection to source, we're all on an even playing field. Our connection to source is the same. No one's is different. And I say this all the time to the people that I work with, because they're like, oh, you're a healer, you're a psychic, or you do this and you do that. And I'm like, one, I don't even say I'm a healer. I'm a conduit. I'm a facilitator.
Channel.
I'm just a support system. Yes. But my connection, I don't say, hey, God, I have a VIP pass here, because I'm a psychic medium down on earth. Everyone thinks I'm closer to you than they are. That is not the case. We're all connected the same exact way. So I feel when you do work with rose quartz, it's bringing you back to your connection
your
to
divinity.
Yes. It's helping you understand that you are love. Nothing can take that away from you, even in the hardest of moments here in the physical reality. The physical reality is very dense. It's very heavy. So we can get caught up. And I say, honor that too. You have to honor that. You have to allow yourself to move through that, because it'll just keep coming up for you if you don't. But you have to honor whatever comes up for you, the good and the bad. You don't want to ignore anything that comes up. You hear a lot of people, they'll say, I need to think positive. I'm like, why do we need to think positive right now? How are you feeling? Where is that anger going to go if you don't release it? Where is that sadness going to go if you don't release it? When you work with crystals, they help you where you need to be guided. Yes, where you need to be released. They take some of the burden from you and help and transmute it. Like something like black tourmaline. Black tourmaline transmutes negative energy, and not just negative energy from outside, from other people, negative energy from yourself, your negative belief system, maybe the ladder of excuses that you have in your mind of why you can't do something. Yes, exactly. So this helps transmute this energy. And then you have other crystals that will put a shield around you. There's just, I feel like I don't even know. Go ahead.
Hold that thought, because that's where I want to get. No, please don't apologize.
I know.
Jenn.
I don't know why I just said sorry, and I get mad at myself when I do that. So I take that back.
Yeah, beautiful. Because I can feel it, Jenn. You're just channeling all this through right now. So we're going to go to that next about the negative entities, because I want to talk about that, and I actually want to, believe it or not, I actually want to go to a whole deeper spiritual layer here in a second. But I just want to honor you, Jenn. I'm really enjoying this conversation. And
oh my gosh, me too. I'm like beat red.
I can feel it. I can feel it, my friend. So for people listening, I think you can understand why I really connect to this beautiful soul. And if you're not following this person, you're not connecting to her, I really encourage you to, just from all the channels that you're receiving, right? This is so much more than a crystal healing chat, but let's continue with this conversation, Jenn. And these next couple questions here are, I talk about these topics a lot on the show, but I haven't made the connection too much to crystal healing. So the first thing I want to throw you here, and you were just talking about it in terms of negative thought forms and negative beliefs, and I would connect this into the entity conversation, right? Both entities that we can internally create and the darker sort of entities that are outside of us that can come into our field. So my question for you, Jenn, is where do crystals come into this? How can crystals help us with entity protection?
So crystals, when you set your intention, because your intention is so powerful, you have the power over you. You have the power for anything. You decide, am I open to receive the support from the crystals? Am I open to receive support from someone else being a conduit of energy for me, right? So it's about, are you open in the heart and open in the mind? When you work with crystals and you set the intention of working with a crystal, something like smoky quartz, right? And that's known for protecting you spiritually, psychically. This helps you create healthy, strong spiritual boundaries so that this person can't take this power from me because I'm not allowing it. I'm not giving it to them. However, if you don't have an awareness and you're just walking around like a sponge, absorbing everything, negative energy can stick to you like a tick, and you can be having a really good day and then all of a sudden just feel like so angry and enraged. And like you say to yourself, where did this come from? Why am I so angry? I was fine all day. It's because you're picking up this.
I just want to pull out that point that you just said, right? This can happen to you throughout the day, right? And I want to underline this because, as I'm sure you're aware, Jenn, plant medicines have become very popular in our collective at the moment, right? And one of the the parts of this conversation around plant medicines is that there's a lot of fear around going into a plant medicine ceremony where we do open ourselves up, like you were talking about, and all these entities come in, and people, in my opinion, have the misconception that, okay, if I stop doing the plant medicine ceremonies, then I'm not going to have to worry about running into negative entities and things impacting me. But that's not what Jenn just said. Jenn said that this can happen anywhere that we go, which is where crystals come in. So I guess, do you agree with that, Jenn? Do you agree that there is a sort of disconnect here?
I do. And I feel like let's even take it a little bit further and say, when you open up to these different entities, when you go on those journeys, is it different aspects of you?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Is it different aspects of is it our parallel timelines coming through?
Yeah.
Showing, right? I mean, we can,
Yeah.
yes, because your higher self is going to bring in right now where you are, what you need to work through, what's beneficial for you. So is it other? Is it outside of us? I feel like it's us, but just different aspects of self coming through.
That we need to see.
Right. That we need to see and we need to work through. And sometimes it's uncomfortable, but even without doing that, sometimes we have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, because that's where the work happens.
And the crystals will come in there, right?
The crystals come in, and you utilize the crystals for protection, like something like fluorite or amethyst. They create like a light shield around you of protection. Picture yourself being in like an egg-shaped like bubble of light, right? Whatever color comes to your mind, but you can say something like, this is my space. I have permission to exist inside my space, and everyone else has permission to exist outside of my space. And you can set the intention with the crystal that you're working with to help you set that boundary, to protect you. And the energy is going to automatically do that. And a lot of people, I want to just throw in this little note for everyone listening too, because a lot of the times when you don't have healthy boundaries set spiritually, you'll feel very bogged down. Your mood will change and shift. You'll feel very frustrated. You'll kind of feel all over the place, and scattered, not grounded. You're definitely won't feel grounded. At nighttime is when you kind of feel like your most self. You feel like you want to read a book, watch TV. You don't know what to do. You want to do all the things. That's because the rest of the world around you is sleeping and you're not picking up all of that energy. So at that time, you're tapping into more of your essence, more of who you are. And I feel like that's a really important thing to remember, because then you can feel the energy shift of what it feels like to be tapped into who you are. And then also what it's like when you're not having healthy boundaries set physically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally. And crystals help you set those boundaries and stick with it. And also they clear and they ground. When you're ungrounded, I mean, so much goes on when you're just ungrounded. It's so important to work through from your base, from your root chakra first, so that you can really be grounded. You want to be like a mountain, very rooted down into the earth, but then your peak is so high into the sky and so strong. A lot of us we're either too focused on the external, what can we bring in to give me this, that, and the other thing. And then some of us, like me, sometimes I'm like up in the clouds where my husband's like, hey, can you come out of your fishbowl for a little while so we can have a human conversation? I'm like, why? So
that's such an important point that you're bringing up. So first of all, thank you for clarifying the entity piece. But what you're talking about now, I just want to connect these dots for people listening. This is probably one of the most, and I think you probably see this too, Jenn, this is probably one of the most common symptoms I see within an awakening experience, right? We start to remember what we are, we start to connect into our gifts and our abilities, and then we start to fly off into space, right? We connect to our starseed family, we connect to our clairvoyance, right? It's all beautiful. But then we have this question of, there's so much coming through, right? There's so many downloads, so many channels. When we feel, right, what's the word? We feel ungrounded. We feel like all this creative energy is moving through us, but we don't have a way to channel it into inspired action. And it sounds like, Jenn, a big part of the role of crystal therapy is helping us with this, right? It's helping us connect. And maybe this is a question I want to ask you now. When I think of crystals, I think of Mother Earth. Right, I think of all of these crystals in many forms that they're in. they're all expressions of what? They're expressions of her in many ways, right? I know there's a cosmological connection, but I think there's a big Earth Mother connection here. So what are your thoughts on
absolutely.
how the Earth plays a role in this?
Well, the crystals, they are expressed from the Earth, and they carry universal codes. They have the elements of each season in them. I mean, there's so much about crystals. Like, I feel like I don't know. There's thousands of crystals, and then there's probably millions more that have yet to be discovered. But there's just so much information. I always tell everyone I work with, I'm learning every day. I just bring through the information that I'm learning and bring it to the people that I work with, or anyone who follows me to learn this stuff. So I don't claim to know it all, but I feel like the crystals carry so much information. You have something like Larimar that is from Atlantean times, or Lemurian quartz, like these are such powerful crystals. Ancient. On the side of a Lemurian crystal, you can see barcodes, and those barcodes hold information. Some crystals help you connect to your Akashic records, to your past life, like sodalite, for instance. Sodalite is so common. Everybody's like, oh, I love sodalite. Sodalite is about working with past lives, connecting to light beings, not figuring out, but understanding more your purpose. Everyone's so set on what's my purpose? Crystals are like, hey, your purpose right now in the present moment is this. And like, when we get to the next part, let's worry about that when we get to the next part. So our purpose will change. And crystals help us through transformation. And sometimes, us earthly beings, we don't like change. We're like holding on for dear life. Like, no. It's working for me this way. Don't make me change. And crystals will support you in gentleness, guiding you to, it's okay for this transformation to happen. You need to let this go. You need to move through this. You need to allow this to happen so that you can basically move into the next level of who you are and discover your purpose there. So I'm of the belief that we don't have a set purpose, and crystals, a set purpose, like where it's like, oh, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. I feel like you're always going to be of service to yourself and to people in so many different ways. But crystals, they carry this information. They've crystallized into, like, there's ammonites. They're like one of the oldest fossils on Earth, and they come in like all different sizes, and you can find them throughout the world. And they're absolutely beautiful. They have like this iridescent rainbow on top. Sometimes they look like a snail. When you first look at it, it looks like the shape of a snail. They have this iridescent rainbow on top, and that is natural. So it is said that the ammonites, like trillions, I think it's 100 million years ago, when from their light beings, they were light beings that crystallized and became this crystallite form. And they carry all this different information of the universe that you can utilize. And the first time I ever held an ammonite, I immediately went on a journey, and I saw so many different, I don't even know how to put this into words. Like it was like a reel of different timelines popping in my mind. And I didn't want to put it down because I wanted to keep going on this journey. And I was like, wow, this is intense and massive and so beautiful to experience. Again, I'm open to receiving that type of information. Something like celestite, it's this beautiful blue cluster, right? You can find it just in its regular rock formation, or they can put it into hearts and egg shapes and things like that. But the first time I held a celestite, I was instantly communicating with the angelic realm, and I felt at peace. I felt this harmonization. We're always like aiming for balance, but what we're really aiming for is this harmony of mind, body, spirit connect to work as a cohesive whole. Oh, it just feels like you're getting a hug from the universe. That's what it feels like.
I love it, Jenn. What this is highlighting to me, as you're explaining all of that, it highlights that, we talked before about consciousness inside of us being love, right? And this information field that's moving through us that we can connect to, that it's very obvious that Jenn is connecting to, and she's channeling and I'm channeling, right? But what we have to remember is that consciousness doesn't just express itself through words or through actions. It also expresses itself through frequency, right? So for example, when Jenn holds one of those crystals, and then suddenly gets the vision, we have to ask ourselves, why is that? Well, I think a big part of that is because those crystals are holding and expressing a frequency that is beyond words, beyond movement, beyond action, right? And I think that's a big part of what crystals can help us remind us of, is that, and I'm starting to see this a lot in my work that I do, Jenn, and I'm sure you see it too, is that as us as souls, just us showing up in our purest form is healing, right? Without even talking, without even taking action, without even doing anything, if we connect to all that we are, and it sounds like crystals can remind us of this, then just us being, for example, walking into a room and being our fullest expression, that frequency impacts others.
Exactly, it's unspoken. That's why it's so important to focus on healing yourself and moving through your own journey, because when you heal yourself, you heal the collective. If I'm abundant, you're abundant. That's how it works. Everyone, I feel like when people start to wrap their mind around that concept of how we are all connected, and how just by entering a room, you can help someone unknowingly, lift them up, walk them off of a ledge. You have no idea. I mean, some of us do because we're open to our intuitive, empathetic selves. But it's the same. It's like this whole time that we've been talking, I've been holding on to my shungite. It's very grounding for me. It makes me feel solid and stable, like rooted down like a mountain. And I need that because I can be very unrooted and kind of high into
the realms.
Crown chakra. Yes, like communicating. And I have to be very conscious about shutting it down in my physical self to give myself rest. Because, when you raise your vibration in this way too, your physical body, you can become tired, and you have to make sure you're not burning the candle right from both ends. And something like green moss agate, it's absolutely stunning, right? I mean, it looks like nature. It has these beautiful green veins, and the green is just so that of a forest. It has like blue hues in it and whites. And I mean, it's just such a lovely crystal to even just look at. When you work with something like green moss, it connects you to Earth. It connects you to Gaia. It connects you to literally in the middle of Earth. The Earth is a giant crystal itself. In the middle of Earth, it's iron. So when you are being told to go outside and ground, put your feet in the grass, stand in a beach, you're standing on top of an iron. You're standing on top of hematite. Hematite is iron, so it's very, very grounding. And then you're connecting through your feet, which has like thousands of nerve endings under there. You can release a lot through your feet. You hear a lot of people like detoxing, doing foot soaks and things like that, magnesium foot baths. So when you go outside and ground, you're essentially standing on a giant crystal because it's iron in the center of the earth. And it's so wild, right? Like you go outside and you connect and you could feel the pulsation. You can feel the vibration when you close your eyes and just take a minute. You can feel that vibrating underneath you and actually pulling you, like rooting you in.
Well, Jenn, I think a big part of that is, so I think it's everything from that crystal lens. And we have to remember, and this leads into my next question I want to ask you here, Jenn, is that the earth is a soul too, right? The earth is a soul that we are connected to, right? So that I think that pulsation through the crystals the crystals are her physical body, right? The crystals are her physical body and we feel her energetics through the field, right? But this is where I want to go next here, Jenn, and we're going to go full. We're going to jump off. If we're not there already, we're going to jump even further into all things woo here.
I love it.
We've talked a lot today about the consciousness of crystals and that they are very much alive. And are you familiar with Dolores Cannon, my friend? I'm sure you.
Oh my gosh,
yes,
I love Dolores Cannon.
Yes.
I like wish I could have met her in this physical world.
Me too.
But I love Dolores Cannon.
Yeah, and I've for regular listeners of the show, I've done a couple episodes on a lot of her insights and the quantum hypnosis that she does. But I bring her up here because in a lot of her work, she, through her past life regressions, has seen that us as the soul that we are in the ascension and awakening progress and story, we are going back to God, is that part of our progression is actually incarnating as the crystal realm, as in crystals themselves. So one, I'm wondering your thoughts on this, Jenn, and two, for skeptics out there that are maybe listening and tuning in and wanting to learn more, how do you even start to have this conversation with people around this idea that we can actually incarnate into the crystal world?
I feel like we've been there already. We've done that. And then we're here. I feel like being here, and I feel like Dolores Cannon talks a lot about this. Being on Earth is one of the highest things that you can do in your spiritual journey to evolve and to grow. It's a blessing. It's an honor. It's an honor to be here to do this. And it's not for the faint of heart. It's not easy to come here and do this work, as we all know. Sometimes I'm like, did I really decide this for myself? Like I question myself. Like, did I really, was this really something that I agreed to? I'm going to have to speak to someone about this, because I don't know. Why does everything have to be a lesson? Right. Right. Can I collapse this timeline now? Because I'm about over it. So, she even talks about how we have been rocks in the forest. We have been trees. We have gone through so many different aspects of ourselves to experience that, and to experience just the state of being, the state of consciousness. And I think that being in the physical and being a human, to be able to bring in that ego mind with the understanding, or given it something tangible that it could work with, it's feeling like understanding, like this is, I don't not agree with being on the crystal level, the same way you go into 12D or into with your angelics or elementals even, and connecting with all elements of the universe. So I don't think that's far-fetched at all. It's not woo for me. I'm like, bring me back to the crystal realm. Like I'm ready, because it's all consciousness. And here, time is a human construct. So in other realms, in different dimensions, there is no time. They're not like, years passed. Here it's like that, but everything is moving at the speed of light. It's so quick. It's happening so fast. It's happening on different levels. That's why in different frequencies, it's not like you're taking up my time by being with you. I can be, there's multifaceted parts of me that are
that's the part. So that's the part I really want people to hear, because I think, so thank you for answering that, Jen. And
you're welcome. I know it's long. I go on rants.
No, I appreciate it. I'm learning so much. That multidimensional piece, I think, adds to Dolores's view, and I think is what I would encourage people to tune into right now, is we don't even need to. So I think there is value in looking to the past and seeing that maybe, yes, part of our incarnation journey was in the crystal form. But I think a better question to ask is, what part of me now is in the crystal form, right? Because I'm not just Harrison here in this 3D skin talking to Jenn, right? I am a multidimensional light being that has different aspects of itself in different, not just different parts of the universe, but in different dimensions and different forms, right? So I think the better question to ask, and that's what you were getting at, Jenn, is what part of me right now is probably connected to a rose quartz somewhere, or right? Do you agree with that?
Or what do I have to release so that I can tap into my connection to that still?
Yes.
Right. That's what I feel.
Goosebumps.
Like that. Yeah. Right. Me too. Like what do I need to let go of right now to tap back into my connection to that?
Yes.
Because when Dolores Cannon too, and she talks about past lives, and even in my own past life regression sessions, it's about letting go of what no longer serves you. But then for some reason, the soul, the spirit likes to hold on to everything that is of no service. Again, it's that security blanket. And then when we go back into these, what I feel are parallel timelines, and either collapse them or merge them to now, is rediscovering gifts, talents, and abilities. And people have such a hard time accepting their own gifts, accepting who they are. Yeah. Yes, they feel like they have to be of a certain societal level. Yes. And it's like, let's try to let all that go, because there's so much that you bring forward to the table. Just by you being you is enough. And now you can tap into that crystal energy that you are already a part of, and utilize it to bring it forward so that you can be creative and be the light that you see yourself being without having outside validation.
I think that I love this train of thought here. The other piece here, Jenn, is that I think we don't remember that light or focus on those light aspects that you were just talking about, is because we spend so much time focusing on the darkness, right? I call it the superhero archetype, right? We start this healing journey, we start working with our inner child, or we work with a past life, and we're doing all the shadow work. But in that shadow work, in that darkness, we forget that our light needs just as much attention as the darkness, right? So we think that we need to do a certain amount of healing to, like you said, to be worthy of acknowledging our light, when we could be doing that the whole time.
Right. I know you've heard of the mirroring effect, where it's like when someone triggers you, or if someone's doing this to you, it's highlighting for you where you need to work, what you need to work on, and what you need to work through. And I feel that people forget the flip side of that aspect is when you meet someone that you're like, oh my God, I totally loved her or him. They were so amazing. Their energy was this. I feel like I've known them forever. That's also mirroring to you how you are and what you bring to the table and how amazing you are and how people feel that way about you. But again, I feel like I totally understand, because I have this need for this you want to be validated, you want to be confirmed, you want to have these friendships outside of you. And I feel like once you get past the fear of judgment from others, it's really the judgment of self that we have to worry about. Because once we move past like worrying about what we should be doing, or these limits that we put on ourselves, and kind of let it go and trust in go down the stream as opposed to up the stream, let go of resistance and surrender to any attachment to outcome and things like that. I feel like that's when there is no judgment there. And the friendships and things in this realm are in alignment with our soul, and we're vibrating with people that are also in alignment with their soul. Like I said, it's very complementary. It's not like codependent. So you'll notice on journeys like this, when you're opening up, a lot of people will fall to the wayside because, friends that you've had for years and things like that, even family, because you're moving in a different frequency. And maybe they're not there yet, but that's okay. There's no judgment. That's what they came here to work on. At some point, when they do raise their frequency, they will be there, and then you'll be in alignment with them again. And crystals come into play throughout every single weave of this, because they're there supporting you on your journey. Right. It's a connection that you have. And it's not something, I tell people, it's not something that you have to, oh, I left the house without my black tourmaline, like I have to go back. No, you don't have to do that. Your connection is there. You can leave your house. You also have to remember that you're the one that's in complete control. You're the one that has the say. You're the one. So you don't need anything. You don't need anything for good luck.
Yeah.
You don't need anything. You know how people put these things on themselves, like, oh, I have to carry this so that I can win this game, or wear these socks to win this game. You don't need to carry your crystals. If you can, I carry my crystals all the time, but if I leave my house with none of my crystal jewelry and my satchels that I have everywhere, I'm okay, because I already know that my connection, there's nothing in between us. There's nothing in between you and I. I mean, this is all just, so that's what, and then distance healing comes in, and, you have to explain that to people, because they're like, well, I want to be in person. I'm like, we're already in person.
Yeah, we're there already.
I'm here with you right now.
I think another way of describing that, it's funny that you said it, 'cause I think you must be in my field. I was just, as you were talking.
We're so blended, Harrison.
Yeah. As you were explaining that, I was looking at my crystals on my desk. I was like, oh, I forgot to grab them to have them here. But then you were just like, right. Oh, I don't need to grab them because they are here.
Yeah, they are.
And I think another way of describing that is one of my favorite sort of sayings and depictions of crystals is, matter, physical matter, is just God or consciousness moving slow enough so we can interact with it, right? So if crystals are consciousness, or crystals are God, what is the nature of God? In my opinion, the nature of God is unconditional love. So going back to your example, if I leave the house with my crystal, what is the answer? Unconditional love? Yes. If I bring the crystal, what is the answer? Unconditional love? Yes. Right. So that's another way of describing that sort of, that connection that, and I think this goes back to the religious programming, that we feel from a spiritual lens that there is a man on the cloud that's judging us, right? That's keeping score of all the things that we're doing or not doing. But in reality, the nature of God is it loves us. It has no judgment. It has no judgment. It's yes all the time, right?
It's for us. It's not against us. It's not, we need to be struggling to prove our worth. We need to be, and that's how I was raised. Yes, that's how I was raised, that you need to struggle, that you need to go through all this hardship, that you have to be, what's happiness and joy, but blips maybe here and there, but not always. That's why a lot of people feel unsafe feeling happy. They feel unsafe feeling joy because all they can think about is, when is the other shoe going to drop? When is the rug going to be pulled from under me? They don't allow themselves to stay in that moment because they're so focused on, well, this isn't the way it's supposed to be. I'm not deserving. Yes, it's going to be taken from me. So you're already living an experience that hasn't even happened yet because you created that reality. And this is something that every single person has to work through and work on. And it's a continuous process, because something good happens to you. Boom. It's like, oh my God, I'm so excited. But then this like daunting feeling of like, oh my God, then your conscious mind comes in and starts to let you know everything that could go wrong. And then you're like, preparing yourself for it, instead of saying, okay, no, like not right now. Like I'm deserving of this. This is why I'm here. I feel like God is not the man on the cloud that's judging everyone. I feel like he gives everyone free will, or she gives everyone free will. And it's up to you to decide. It's up to you to say, I need help. Can you please help me with more strength today? I feel like we have a spirit team for a reason. You have to delegate them jobs to do. They want to help you, but you have to be open to receiving that help. And you have to be also, and it's, I don't even like to say like putting in the work, because again, it's not about like nailing yourself into the ground. Again, it's about expanding your awareness, being open to maybe a different perspective. It's about, instead of being on the ground inside the gate, looking at things from a bird's eye view, and also as a learning opportunity. And the highest frequency is love. That's where we all aim to be. It's frequency, compassion, forgiveness, empathy. When you help someone, right? When you help someone without any strings attached, right? And you genuinely help someone, that feeling is what everyone's after. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we forget that we also have to help ourselves first. And you hear it all. I mean, when you get on an airplane, they tell you have to take the oxygen first before you give it to someone else, because what good are you if you're passed out? You can't help a child if you're not giving yourself oxygen. So it's important to water your own soil. And with crystals, I know and everything that we're talking about, I feel like you can bring it right back to crystals, because crystals really help. They help regulate the nervous system on the physical level. You have your left side and your right side, which your left side is your receiving side. And then your right side is your transmitting side, where you're letting go. So can picture like, a conveyor belt coming in and then leaving. So crystals help you, again, transmute energy. They help you heal. Maybe you need to do healing on your feminine side, which is your left side, or maybe you need to heal things on your masculine side, which is your right side. Are you taking actionable steps towards your goals? Are you procrastinating? Or, are you forgetting to maybe rest? And people say, oh, that sounds so easy. I'm like, well, if resting is so easy, then why don't you do it?
Yeah. I think that is, just to jump in here, Jen, because I think that's the beautiful, I hope that people listening take many things away from this chat today, because we've gone into all the places. But if you leave with one thing, is that for me, from what I've started to learn, and even in this chat today, is that these beautiful crystals are a physical mirror of these things that maybe we're not seeing internally, right? They allow us, because we always hear, and we've talked about it today, right, that the external is a mirror, is a reflection of the internal. Well, I would love to make the choice, as I look at your room, my friend, I look at that crystal cupboard that you have behind you. That's a very beautiful mirror to look into, to see what needs to be seen and to feel what needs to be felt, right? So at the very least, if you're listening to this and you feel inspired just to have a crystal in your world to do that, I think that's a beautiful place to go, right? Jenn, I love you very much. And this chat has been so...
Thank you so much.
This chat has been so activating, so enlightening. And I knew you would bring so much grace to this chat, and you haven't disappointed, my friend. I I have one question for you left. But before I get to that, I do want to give you a bit of space here, because you aren't just a talking head. You aren't just a loving heart. You are a beautiful soul in this world that is doing a lot of work and inspiring people, helping people, supporting people. So if the listeners have tuned in and they want to connect to you, they want to reach out to you, they want to see what you're doing in the world, what do you want to share? I know, for example, you have MotherRealm, you have your Instagram. What do you want to share with everyone?
Thank you so much, Harrison. It's been an honor, like truly. And if, I always say, take from me what works for you and leave the rest, So I'm the founder of NeuroticMommy.com. So you can find me across the board, Neurotic Mommy on Instagram. I offer healing services where I call myself your Pisces BFF, because I feel like I hold your hair back in the spirit realm while you navigate your own journey, and it's many layers, and we all need that support. You have to be a healer's healer, a medium's medium. I truly feel that we have to be there for one another so that we can take the pressure off of ourselves sometimes and allow someone else to be that facilitator and that conduit for us. I also have an online crystal and spiritual shop. It's called MotherRealm, and I sell crystals, consciously chosen, intuitively selected, ethically sourced, and a lot of other spiritual tools that you can use on your journey, whether it's dried herbs, again, ethically and sustainably sourced, or healing candles. We do live sales on Instagram every Friday around 8 p.m. Eastern. And then, we do a lot of fun stuff. And you can visit my website or my Instagram. And if you have any questions or would love to work with me, I'd be honored. You can email me or shoot me a message. And I'm very responsive with my audience. So I'd be honored to connect.
I can attest to Jen's beautiful heart. So that's really how I started to meet this beautiful soul, is, I'm connecting to her, being a part of her audience. And then now we're here, right? So
Harrison and I have met on Clubhouse, and then we were doing so many rooms together in the beginning when Clubhouse first started, and I felt like our rooms were very complementary, like of one another's energy, and got constructive guidance along with everyone else that we would bring on and do these healing rooms with us or these reading rooms with us. And each one, it's just so informative and so constructive. I can't say I have yet, but I really love working with people in this space that are constructive guidance and not daunting or scary and making people feel like something bad is going to happen. I share a lot of my story with people so that they understand that I understand, like I've experienced things, and I look back now and I'm like, oh, I experienced that for a reason. Now I know why. It's an honor for me to do this work. I feel very grateful and full of appreciation because, again, I'm not reinventing the wheel here, but I will bring my own essence and experience to the table to help you. That's why I say, take from me what works for you and leave the rest.
It's realness. It's authenticity.
Right.
And
yes.
And I haven't shared this with you. You've just brought back this memory that I'd love to share with you here in this moment with everyone witnessing. In those Clubhouse rooms that you were just alluding to, that was actually one of my first situations for me as the intuitive that I am, to actually have the opportunity to express my gifts to the public. And it was actually your energy, my friend, your grace, your authenticity, all the things that you just outlined that actually allowed me to give myself permission to do so. Right. So I want to say I love you for that. And I don't think this podcast would be here if I hadn't had that experience. But two, I just want to use it to promote the person that you are. Jenn, everything she just talked about, this is not we don't just go to a healer or go to an intuitive or go to a crystal healer like Jenn to heal, right? We also go to remember our light. We go to, but like I said before, it's not just a shadow conversation. We go there to activate our power, right? Because everything that Jenn does, everything that I do, it's not unique to us. Yes, we have our unique soul expression of that gift, but the thing that we're tapping into we all have. So I just want to say this to plug Jenn even more. I'm going to put all of her details, her website, her Instagram in the show notes. So please just, if you connect just for that reason alone, I can attest to her beauty and her grace. Jenn,
I'm not crying, you're crying.
Jenn,
Harrison, thank you so much. Now I have like the biggest ego. My husband's going to be like, what did he say to you? I can't get your head through this door.
She's flying out of the room. Jenn, my final question here to wrap all this up, and we've tiptoed around it a lot today. This is the cosmic love antenna, and my higher power is that love word. And I'm wondering, Jenn, if you could share with all of us, how do you personally define that LOVE word?
How do I define it? My whole body is lighting up right now. I define love by existing, by being, by letting go of the past, staying present in the future. I'm staying present in the moment and being excited for the future. I feel like that's such a deep question. And I don't even know I feel like there's no right or wrong way to answer it, but I just feel like by existing as who I am. And I feel like that is the best that I can, doing the best that I can for myself and in everyday life. I feel like that's what I can do. That's love. That is holding myself accountable and being responsible for myself and for my healing and for my life. And I think there's so many different ways that you can be. It's like different avenues of love, just being like extensions of love, like everything that we do is just another extension of love and just another extension of love. And our extensions never break, even through sometimes the muddiness, So that's how I feel. I feel like just being present.
That's enough, right? And that's
enough.
That's
yeah.
enough.
I am enough by just being. Right. I think we all are. And do you remember in the beginning when I was like, I can't remember what I was trying to say about the crystals and their frequency. It's called DOR, their dominant oscillatory rate. It can't be influenced. Remember that, because it was really getting to me that I was like, what was that thing? And like, when you have so much on your mind and you're trying to get it all out and you're like, it's right there on the tip of my tongue. It's called the dominant oscillatory rate. We cannot influence that in crystals.
Yeah.
They can influence us.
And it came back around now to help you remind you of that.
And it came back around now.
Yes.
Yes. So talk to your crystals. Don't be shy. Tell them what you need. Give them some tender love and care. And thank you again. Thank you so much. I feel like saying thank you is like not enough. I want to give you like a virtual hug.
I receive it, Jenn. It's in my heart, and I appreciate you so much, Jenn. Thank you for being here today. I appreciate
you. Thank you.
Thank you for the cosmic dance that we went on today, and I want to thank all the beautiful listeners out there tuning in. I hope my intention for this chat today was to really expand your consciousness and this beautiful soul. I think it did it for me. So if it did it for you, I'd love to hear your feedback, your comments. Please share this episode out far and wide with anyone you think it can support and give guidance to. If you got some nuggets of guidance and some things that you picked up, remember, you can also leave that in your reviews on Apple and Spotify. But until next time, beautiful listeners, both Jenn and I love you unconditionally, wish you light, we wish you love, and we wish you a wonderful evening, morning, and afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Bye, everyone. All right, beautiful souls, before I leave you today, I'm excited to share an announcement and a powerful transformation with you. Starting on January 1st, 2023, I'll be launching a 1-year coaching program, one-on-one with me. So if you're looking to move through inner child wounds, ancestral healing, spiritual gifts, overcoming religious trauma, or anything else you hear me speaking about on this podcast, then this program is for you. This is your opportunity to spend a year in my frequency to help you expand one-on-one straight into your nuanced, specialized, and individual needs. This is for you if you're ready, if you feel committed, if that heart is pulling you to the change that you deserve. If you feel like this is you, please message me the word, the comments, the statement, 1 year love, on my email or on my social channels, and we'll book your free call to feel in and tune in together to see if we're a good fit for this beautiful transformation. Please be aware I'm only bringing on a certain amount of people for this. So if this is you, please take this advantage before I fill up all my spots. I'm excited if this is the pull that you need, and I'm excited to get in touch and honored to take this journey with you. Sending love, sending light, and I'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you for listening to the Cosmic Love Antenna podcast. We hope you enjoyed. Be sure to follow Harrison on Instagram, Twitter, and Clubhouse at Harrison Ma. That's Harrison, MEAGHER.